Just before the Monaco Grand Prix, it was announced that Norris had signed a multi-year contract with McLaren. Now, I for one, as a McLaren and Norris fan, was extremely happy with the announcement, but it did cause a lot of questions for others. During the Monaco Grand Prix practice sessions, there was a lot of talk back and forth between the commentators about how this affects Mercedes. Yes, Mercedes. Now, I know you'll be wondering how this will affect Mercedes when Lando is a McLaren driver, and it has been since forever. There's absolutely no doubt that Lando has had like an amazing start to 2021 with him finishing. Now, I have a list because I can't remember all this off by heart. So, P4 in Bahrain, P3 in Imola, P5 in Portugal, P8 in Spain, P3 in Monaco, and P5 in Baku. Now, he is the only one on the grid up to now, so Baku's just gone, not sure when I'm posting this, but up to now Lando is the only driver on the grid to score points in every race this season. Can't deny though that there is something different about Lando this year. Some would say having a teammate like Daniel Ricciardo is kind of pushing him to his best ability, but after all, Lando's 21 now and he's not 19. He's been in Formula 1 for 3 years now. This is his 3rd season. And I kind of think, me also being the same age as Lando, being 21, you kind of want to get your head down and crack on and prove people wrong. So at the moment in time, he's 4th in the championship. Now with Verstappen leading the championship, Hamilton in 2nd, Perez in 3rd, Bottas nowhere to be seen. And we know that Lando is on great form this season and pushing the most out of his McLaren. Like, I know they've dropped down to the 4th in the championship again, but Daniel's still kind of finding his feet. But Lando's there. Lando is doing what he should be doing, having spent 3 years at that team. Contract talk. Everyone loves a bit of contract talk. Rumours are flying around at the minute. We know that both Mercedes drivers' contracts end this season. Williams driver George Russell, who, as we know, filled in for Hamilton in Bahrain, or what, a weekend. Another driver kind of linked to Mercedes on the grid is Esteban Ocon. Yes, I know he drives for Alpine, Renault, whatever you want to call them, but Esteban was a Mercedes junior, Russell is still a Mercedes junior, and they are kind of managed by Toto. And I know that there'll be always, you know, that question looming around Verstappen, like, ooh, there's a hole in his contract, Merck could snatch him, he could go to Merck. But in my own personal opinion, like, I don't think he'll leave Red Bull. I think he's there for the long run. Like, I just can't imagine Verstappen in a Mercedes. Red Bull is his team. I know both Valtteri and Lewis could sign for like another year or two, and there's always talk about the availability of seats. It is literally always the topic of conversation. The start of the season, the middle of the season, the end of the season, through the breaks, always talk about contracts and availability. The other question that's always looming around Mercedes is if they are ever gonna put faith into bringing a younger driver up through the ranks. And I mean, I know Lewis and Valtteri are young, but like, I mean like a young driver. Like you are seeing at the minute the 3 other top teams, I'd say, Red Bull, McLaren and Ferrari, putting their faith in Max, Lando and Charles. Now, another thing is what I've noticed, I think sometimes, I will admit, I don't see on social media, so I could be completely wrong with this, you don't see a lot of Mercedes juniors in the feeder categories. Like, you see a lot of like the Alpine. So you see a lot of Alpine, Red Bull, there's even a Sauber junior and Teo Pourchaire in Formula 2. The only recent junior signing I've seen for Mercedes, I think, I know there's been others recently, but the only one I know is Frederick Vesti. That's all I have to say. He is in Formula 3 at the moment, so he's probably not likely going to be in that seat within the next year. But he is definitely one to look out for in the future. So where does Norris fit into this? Well, I was wondering the same thing. But when you kind of sit back and think, right, Ocon, if he has a good season, he might sign another year with Alpine, and if not, Gasly will probably end up moving to Alpine. Oh. However, We're already seeing a stronger performance from Esteban from last year. He is doing a lot better in that Renault, and I said it again, I can't get used to this. If I say Renault, you know what I mean anyway. If I say Alpine, you know what I mean. We all know it's Alpine. No, it's not, it's Alpine. For God's sake. Yeah, we are seeing stronger performance from Esteban, but I don't think he's going to step up to the Mercedes seat, and I think a lot of people think the same, but it is my personal opinion, so I think other people might think he might, but I don't think. I think it's pretty settled at Alpine. So, as we all know, that second race in Bahrain, George filled in for Lewis when he was poorly. And I must say so myself, he handled it so well. Like, I was so surprised. Started off so well and it ended in heartbreak, and I don't think anyone could forget that. I cannot watch that race again. It really upsets me. It shocked the community as a whole. If Russell can hop into the seat last minute, well, not really last minute, but you know, a couple of days notice, and do a full weekend, topping the charts, and only just missing pole. Some would say, oh, it's the car. How many times do we hear, oh, it's just the car? You have to give credit to George for getting Bottas on that first corner, and that beautiful overtake. Oh my god, mid-race, I still think about it now. I love it to bits. And I just think he would just fit into the team so well. You know, he's been a Mercedes Junior for a while. He still works really closely with the team, and he pushes his machinery to the max. We can see, like, he is getting into Q2 in his Williams. So with all that, instantly you would chart him as contention for the seat at Mercedes. As I was putting this video together, yet again another rumour is floating about that George is going to sign for Mercedes in 2022. Now, Baku happened. Okay, Bottas was nowhere, Hamilton didn't have his wingman, and it does get you thinking, right, okay, Valtteri's slipping back a little bit, but it's so hard to tell with 6 races into the season, so Valtteri might bring his everything within, you know, the last 5 races. We don't know how long this season is going to be, so it's so hard to tell. But are they going to swap Valtteri and George mid-season? Is Bottas going to go back to Williams and George going to step up into the Mercedes seat? Who knows? Nobody knows. Right, Lando. So there is no links to the Mercedes seat, but there is always talk. And I mean, the only thing you can connect Lando to Mercedes is the Mercedes engine and McLaren use. Having relationships with teams from your junior career doesn't stop you from moving on. Look at Carlos Sainz, for example. Originally a Red Bull Junior, he now drives for Ferrari. He got himself up from starting out at Toro Rosso, over to Renault, then to McLaren, and now driving for one of the most well-known teams in motorsport. Lando is so close to the McLaren team, and we can all see that when we're watching the unbox videos and stuff like that, and how he talks about them. And I think it was on Ted's notebook that Zach is like an uncle to Lando, and I just think that's so cute. But you can just see how close he is with everybody. So this is what Lando had to say about his contract extension. Right, so McLaren has been a huge support since my junior series, and I've really enjoyed learning and developing as a driver. My commitment to McLaren is clear. My goal is to win races and become a Formula 1 world champion, and I want to do that with this team. Since joining in 2017, our progression has been consistent, and we have clear ambitions for the future. Like I said before, Lando has really knuckled down this year, achieving 2 podiums within 6 races, and like I said, being the only one on the grid to score points in every race. This is why people are also questioning, like, well, if he's doing this in a McLaren, what can he do in the Mercedes? Put him in the Mercedes and see what he can do. But we literally could say about that everyone on the grid, because these are some of the best drivers in the world. Obviously, he has signed this multi-year with McLaren, but if they start to fall back again, like we have seen them do previously, then Lando might look at other options to become world champion. And right now, if you want to be the best, Mercedes is the team. If Lando continues to impress the paddock like he is doing, maybe one day that move to Mercedes will happen. But the thing is, what needs to be accounted for is if Mercedes are going to be at the top forever. What if his commitment to McLaren is the correct thing to do and bring them back to the top? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do not forget to like this video and subscribe.